Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dropping Bars, and I have with me today basketball legend from Grenada, Mr. Nigel Byam himself.
Yes.
And he's here to drop some bars with us. Nigel, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna jump right in. I just ask you to tell the people who Nigel Byam is. The few people that don't know.
The few people. I'm sure there's tons. But I'm a former professional basketball player, just to start. Right now I'm an entrepreneur, so I have my own podcast. I'm an author as well. That's 2 books. I have my own podcast. I have my own mentoring programs, and I also do a lot of coaching right now, a lot of coaching and training. Just helping out the young future basketballers.
Awesome. That's great, man. And congratulations. I know he was an author, but I didn't know. I thought it was one book, but you're saying there's another one.
So the second one is actually coming out next month, December.
Oh, yeah. So it's right. Maybe that's why.
And I do have a special preview for you, so we'll get into that a little later. I'll show you.
All right.
Especially for you.
All right. Wait, awesome. Thanks, bro. So, the one thing I really want to just jump right in is you're a former professional basketballer. Tell me, where did you play?
So originally, I grew up mainly in the States, right? But every summer, I was the first person on the plane as soon as school was finished. You know what I mean? So a lot of my early childhood playing basketball was in Grenada. I learned how to play the game,
right?
The physical game in Grenada. It was different to what we had here. So when I came back here, I was kind of advanced. I was stronger than everybody else, Right. So Grenada has majority, I would say, of my basketball story, of me growing up and actually playing the game of basketball. So I started there, and I got interested in it. I was in a high school called Edward R. Morrow in Brooklyn, New York, and they didn't have no basketball team. Coming from the Caribbean, your parents is Grenadian and they study books, You study your schoolwork first. So I went to this school and it was prestige for academics. Prestige for academics. Okay. So, and that's what I actually focused on the most in high school. I didn't get to play. They had an opportunity for me. This guy actually from Trinidad, Coach Brian, he brought me to basically an exposure game. He had an exposure game with tons of college coaches there. And literally, man, I kid you not, I had 1 dunk and I had 1 block. And literally that day, my life was completely changed. I had 4 offers to go to junior college just to start off, a Division I junior college. Wow. Like literally that day. Never had no opportunities, never had no experience with playing collegiate basketball at all. And, that one day literally changed my life. So from there, I end up being junior college All-American. So all colleges from all over the country, 4-year schools wanted me to come to their school now. I had 17 Division I scholarships. I honestly didn't even know how to accept it, what to do, because all of this is new. I was never into the politics of basketball or into the background of basketball or anything of that nature. So it was like, wow, what to do? I end up saying, I was in Oklahoma for 2 years, seeing out our cows and country life, you know what I mean? I said, what, I'm going to come back to New York. And I end up coming back to St. Francis, New York. Played my last 2 years of collegiate basketball there. And, the rest is worldwide history.
Awesome. So from there, what countries did you go to? Like, what league did you play in?
So my first stop was a country named Bahrain, and mind you, before actually receiving this contract, I had no clue what Bahrain was, where Bahrain was. I had no idea, but it was in the Middle East. So majority of my basketball was mainly in the Middle East. I had a small stint in Ireland with another professional Grenadian ball player, Michael Bonaparte. He actually helped me get across there to Ireland, and I played there for a season. And literally every other continent after that. I literally been to Asia. I've been literally around the world, Africa, you name it. I've literally played there. So it was a great experience. Amazing.
And I know you said that, you went to a college where there was no basketball program.
High school.
You got the exposure.
High school.
High school. and then you got the exposure at a game. But did you ever think for a moment during all that you would have become a professional basketball player traveling the world? Like, was there any thought, any thinking, even when you were going back to Grenada and playing ball?
So the main thing was I used to always say it. It was something I said. You know what I mean? Manifesting it without even knowing I'm manifesting it. I literally said it out loud all the time. My friends used to look at me and say, Nigel, you're crazy. You know what I mean? And then, when I went to Grenada now, and it's like, I'm playing against all these guys, and they used to always tell me like, yo, you could make it, you could make it, you could make it. And I'm looking at them like, maybe I could. You know what I mean? They was probably one of my number one inspirations in terms of playing and pushing forward to do better. Because and it goes hand in hand in what I do now also in Grenada, because I've seen a lot of talent at a young age that never had the opportunity. You know what I mean? And I had all the opportunities to actually do something with it. So that motivated me even more to push forward. Did I see myself playing professionally around the world? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I didn't even know how that worked. You know what I mean? As I grew in the sport, it came along, but I didn't see it happening. But I definitely could say that people in Grenada definitely, they definitely encouraged me a lot. They told me I could, and after hearing it a number of times, you start to believe it.
Right. They told you could, and you did.
Yep, made it happen.
All right, dope. You mentioned something that's quite interesting. You said that as you look right now at the youth in Grenada, you've seen a lot of talent, and the difference between you and them is that you had the opportunities because I suppose that you existed within two spaces, right? So you had Grenada and you had the US, so there were those opportunities out there, opportunities that maybe some of the young people in Grenada now don't necessarily have, per se. What do you think it takes to create those opportunities for us back home?
So for the last couple of years, I've been doing something called the Nigel Byam All-Star Game. It's been taking place on Grenada's basketball court. And what I've been doing is trying to get the top 20 players on the island, split them into two teams, and have a very high level exhibition game, basically. And I would live stream the games, and I have a lot of coaching friends and a lot of agents and a lot of people around the world that, I would send these links to in order for them to see. So the number one thing with Grenada and people getting exposure is being seen. It's not the fact that we don't have the talent. It's not the fact that we can't do it. It's the fact that we're just not seen enough for people to understand, hey, there's a place called Grenada with a bunch of amazing people and a bunch of amazing athletes. So we need to be seen. That's key. We need to be seen. Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, and yeah, that's really important because and not just in basketball, but like in different. There's a lot of talented people in Grenada in many different fields, whether it's sports, culture, arts, theater. It doesn't matter what, acting. And it's just that exposure, if they get that exposure, then they could really take over the world, So great. And now, I know that we spoke about, going from high school to playing college ball to playing around the world, but I imagine that somewhere along the line, there were some obstacles that you faced. Like, what are some of those and how did you overcome them? Or what's the biggest one? And how did you overcome?
I'll say the biggest one was actually getting started, right? So coming from playing in college, the normal route is an individual will get an agent. The agent will shop you around the world, right? That's the typical thing. So I signed with an agent, and I find the agent wasn't doing the job properly. So I decided to get rid of the agent. And I said, you know what? I studied marketing and advertising. That's what I studied in school. I said I could advertise myself. I could do it. I could do this. And I literally set a workday schedule for myself in order to be recruited. I would play ball for 3 hours a day. I would work out, make sure I'm in tip shape and ready to actually play on a professional level. And for 5 hours, I would sit down on the computer. I designed my own player profile. I made my own website. I did all these things just by researching. And I would also just Google teams and coaches all around the world. And I would literally email my video and prayer profile to these individuals. When I tell you I sent at least 50 to 60 emails per day for about 2 months before I got one opportunity. You know what I mean? So we're talking thousands of emails I've sent out.
So you're putting the work.
And even more work than I did on the basketball court, to be completely honest. You know what I mean?
Right. So, I mean, and that's so, you said something that's so crucial, because, you know, sometimes we want an opportunity, but we sit back and we're hoping and we're waiting that somebody's going to create the avenue for us to get that opportunity. And, you know, you just sit back and you're waiting, but you didn't wait. You were proactive. And as a matter of fact, you decided, you know what, I have somebody, they're not really putting in the work. Let me put in the work myself. And I think that's so important, because some people might think, oh, well, you know, you went out there, and not just you, but other people who really had a great career, that they got lucky. But nah, you're saying to us now that you really put in the work. Like,
definitely. I think it's extremely important, because you have an opportunity, right? You have a talent. And I tell players this till this day, because I experience it personally. You could be working out and be the amazing basketball player. You could work out every day, work as hard as you possibly could. But if nobody knows you're working out, or nobody sees you working out, or nobody sees the effects of you working out, your working out is almost pointless, literally.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can have a talent, but until you expose that talent to the world, the talent is just yours in your pocket, and it's no good to nobody else.
Oh man, that's so good. That's so good. Thanks for saying that. And so let's turn a little bit from basketball to writing, because you did the basketball thing, you succeeded in it, you're not giving back, but now you're an author. Tell me about that journey. Like, what made you decide that you wanted to start writing books?
So the avenue of me being a mentor to many kids, you know, from around the world, people always, you know, kids always looked up to me, gravitate towards me, and I love kids. You know, I always talk to kids, try to motivate them as much as possible, because I feel like older individuals, especially in Grenada, motivated me to be the person I am today. So I always wanted to pay it forward and do the same thing for them. And writing books was something that, you know, it's another avenue for me to actually expose to the world, expose my story, to be a motivation, to be an inspiration to an individual. So my first original book is called Tunnel Vision, right? And
Tunnel Vision, I remember that one.
And it's the subtitle of that is From Nothing to the Pros. So I went from not playing basketball on no organized level at all. You know what I mean? Melville Street basketball court is is on that. That's like one of my staples of where I actually learned the game. Barracks, as everybody else knows it. You know, I played there. My uncles, everybody, you know, my cousins, family, and that vivid story of how I started from there, and how I stayed determined and I stayed motivated, and I didn't give up on this dream that I had, to making it all the way to the pros. It's literally unheard of, right? Because America has this politics of the sport. And if you don't take the right channels to be a successful basketball player, it doesn't happen. It doesn't, like, my story is almost unheard of for most individuals, unless you have some direct connection to an individual or something. You know, it doesn't really just happen the way it happened. You know what I mean? Hard work and dedication and all these stuff like that. It's nice words. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing words. It sounds good, but it just doesn't happen that way. So I decided to write the book on that story. And it's targeted more to the adults and older teens. So that story just basically comes from, you know, every detail of what I did, how I did it, and, you know, the obstacles along the way, and how I overcame those obstacles in order to become successful and be the person I am today. And the second book is Keep the Ball Rolling, right? And that one is a children's book. This one is a children's book. So it's basically almost the same story, but not. It's very children-like. You know what I mean? It's more of an inspiration. It's more of a determination. Like, hey, I work hard at my craft. I kept at it no matter what the circumstances was. I just kept going, you know, even though I was nervous in many situations, I kept going, you know, and that right there, I feel like I made the children's book, honestly, for parents to read to their kids. You know what I mean? I have my son and, you know, we sit down and we read a lot of books together, and to share those moments with him, I designed this book for parents to share those moments with their kids, you know. And I did tell you I was going to give you a sneak peek of, you know, the book.
Yeah,
so
man, for sure.
This one
let's get it.
Is Tunnel Vision, right? Tunnel Vision is the original book that I wrote. This is the original one. And the children's book, which is actually coming out in December, this is the book right here. Keep the ball rolling. Keep the ball rolling. Yes.
Yo, I mean, the illustration is
I got a nice guy to illustrate it for me. It was amazing. It's big pictures within the book. It's an amazing book, man. I can't wait to share it with everybody.
Yeah. I don't know. So you shared that book there, and I'm like, nah, that book is going to do it big.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Yeah. Awesome, bro. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I imagine along the way, obviously, you would have learned some key lessons, you know, that led to the success that you've had, or, you know, you throughout your journey. What would you say are like 3 big lessons that you learned along the way that you can share?
I would honestly say the first one for sure. The first one would definitely be, if you can get the job done, get it done. You know what I mean? Procrastination doesn't help anyone really and truly. Because a lot of times we have ideas in our head and it's like, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do it. Try it. That's all I got to say. You know what I mean? Never fail. Never fail to fail. If that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? Never fail to fail. That's number 2 right there. Don't be afraid to fail. And number 3 is something that, you know, I talk to kids about now. This is big. And, you know, this is the backstory from it. When we're young, people always tell us, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they expect you to choose one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they expect you to choose one thing. And I believe every human being is multi-talented, right? So I would definitely tell individuals to exercise every single talent, every single thing that comes to mind that you think you can succeed at. Try it. It never fails. Don't just choose one thing and decide to do that for the rest of your life, because you don't want to get to a certain age and you said, I wish I had tried that podcast, or I should have tried to write that book, you know. I should have tried this, but, you know, and so exercise all talents, exercise everything that comes to mind. Just do it like Nike.
Yeah. That's awesome. You know, just about 2 days ago, I was watching a video on YouTube, and one of the things that they were saying is that to succeed, you want to do something called, I think, was talent stacking or skill stacking. I don't remember which one you, but really and truly, it goes back to what you're saying now. So what the guy was saying is, you know, sometimes we have multiple talents, you know, and so, you know, if you say, okay, I'm a great basketballer, and you want to just focus only on basketball, and you say, I'm not going to go into writing a book, or I'm not going to do a podcast, I'm not going to do anything else, then there are many others who are great basketballers as well, right? So you're one of a lot of great, you know, basketball players. But if you decide, okay, how many basketballers would write a children's book, do a podcast, you know, and when you combine everything together, then you create this kind of like new thing where you're the king in that space, right? So it was a very interesting concept, and I feel like I'm hearing some synergies with what you're saying now. So I'm definitely done with that. I
agree with that. That right there is key. It's just so, you know, I can't remember who told me, but it was somebody that said something about entrepreneurship, right? And an entrepreneur take a orange, and the entrepreneur say, okay, I can make orange juice, right? I can also take the skin and make some kind of candle or something from the rind and so on, right? I could still take that same exact orange and take beautiful pictures of it and sell that picture of the orange. You know, understand what I'm saying? So you can take one opportunity and make it a bunch of other avenues on how to be successful with one single thing. I think that's when you really succeed in life.
Oh, perfect, bro. Thank you so much. So, I got last question for you. And I mean, just to put you on the spot, if you had an opportunity to speak to young Nigel at like 10 years old, based on everything you're going through now, what is one nugget of wisdom that you can share with him?
Wow, that's huge, because young Nigel probably will be very proud of me today, to be honest.
I can imagine.
Very proud of me. But I would definitely tell young Nigel that the obstacles that you're faced in, it will definitely pass, and success will come out of those things. It's a story within those things. You understand what I'm saying? And don't follow everybody else's dream. You know, social media definitely has us in a form that we look at everybody else's life, and you think that person is doing such an amazing job and doing amazing things, and you say, "Oh, I'm not doing good at all." You know what I mean? And you have to appreciate every single thing that you have, and the things that's around you, and then you have the ability to do. It's the most important thing. I'll tell them to appreciate every single step. Continue with the message, and just continue to work hard and work with a purpose. I don't really like to say work hard. I'll tell them work smart. You know what I mean? Because working hard could be something that you do in excess for no apparent reason. When you work smart, you work for a purpose. So it's a big difference, definitely.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you for sharing that. And you know, I really appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, sharing your wisdom, sharing those nuggets of wisdom. One thing you said, that, you know, social media today can make you feel like you're failing or you're not succeeding in life. You're seeing this person just got the job, and that person just got the brand new car, and that person got a big house, and that person just took the entire family on vacation, and you're like, yo, like, what the hell am I doing? But you got to understand that you're running your own race. Like, everybody has their own race to run, and the only person that you should be competing with is the person that you were yesterday and last week, right? You should not be comparing yourself to anybody else and thinking that, okay, because that person is doing this, then maybe I should be doing that too. So I'm really glad you brought that up, and I really appreciate you on that. So Nigel, thank you so much for coming and drop some bars with us. I really appreciate you. Is there anything else that you want to leave with our audience before we close?
I mean, for you personally, man, just continue doing what you're doing. You have no idea how much people you inspire on a daily basis, man. Thank you, guys. You know,
Thanks,
and
man.
For the people that's out there, once again, I think that social media thing you just said is key. People need to understand they're running their own race. So run your own race, people, and just be successful. As long as you're happy, that's what success is. Success is in your mind and not what you see with your eyes.
Thank you, bro. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another week of Dropping Bars. See you next week when I will have another guest for you to drop some bars on you. Thank you again. And Nigel, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. Dropping bars, dropping bars.